Catholic bishops from around the world are calling for married deacons in the Amazon to be ordained as priests. Church leaders made the highly controversial recommendation today to Pope Francis, who must give final approval. It's aimed at easing the severe shortage of priests in that region. According to a new CBS News poll, nearly 70% of Catholic Americans say they favor letting Catholic priests marry. 25% remain opposed.
That's right. The spotlight turns now to South Carolina, where 7 Democratic presidential hopefuls attended a bipartisan criminal justice forum at a historically black college. Some of them slamming President Trump, who attended yesterday, after comparing the impeachment inquiry to a lynching.
We can damn well do better than a president who compares his own impeachment, a constitutional process he brought on himself, to lynching, which, just to be very clear, is a pattern of white supremacist terrorism, and claims that his supposedly unfair treatment gives him insight into the criminal justice system. It means he does not understand what reform is about.
Kristen Fisher is live in Columbia, South Carolina with more. Kristen.
Well, John, several of the Democratic candidates that spoke at this forum today at a historic...
The spotlight turns now to South Carolina, where 7 Democratic presidential hopefuls attended a bipartisan criminal justice forum at a historically black college. Some of them slamming President Trump, who attended yesterday, after comparing the impeachment inquiry to a lynching.
We can damn well do better than a president who compares his own impeachment, a constitutional process he brought on himself, to lynching, which, just to be very clear, is a pattern of white supremacist terrorism, and claims that his supposedly unfair treatment gives him insight into the criminal justice system. It means he does not understand what reform is about.
Kristen Fisher is live in Columbia, South Carolina with more. Kristen.
We have breaking news that ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi is believed to have been killed in a U.S. raid in northwest Syria. Now, a U.S. defense official tells CNN that al-Baghdadi apparently detonated a suicide vest just as U.S. special forces closed in. Final confirmation is pending, of course, that all-important DNA analysis and, of course, other positive identifiers. Al-Baghdadi has been in hiding for 5 years, we remind you, and we're being told that locating him, of course, this time as well, was based on CIA intelligence. President Trump is expected to make a major announcement on Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. I will repeat, he did tweet the president a few hours ago saying something very big has just happened. I want to remind you now, though, about al-Baghdadi, the leader, of course, of that terrorist group, ISIS. It is believed that he was born in Samarra, Iraq in 1971. He was a Sunni Muslim from a very religious family. A biography posted on jihadist website says he earned a doctorate in Islamic studies from a university in Baghdad. It's believed he joined the Iraqi insurgency after the U.S.-led invasion in 2003. He was later captured and spent 4 years in a U.S.-run prison camp in southern Iraq until his release in 2009. Now, within a year, he became leader of al-Qaeda in Iraq, but eventually broke away to form the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. The U.S. is now offering a $25 million reward for al-Baghdadi's capture. What we do know, of course, was that this raid was based on CIA intelligence in an area where normally the United States would not even have boots on the ground, and that is highly significant. Cedric Leighton is a former deputy director of the NSA and is a CNN military analyst. He joins us now live from Washington. And I want to talk to you about that. We've got northwest Syria here, right? An area where it's conceivable that without tipping off the Russians or Turkish forces or the Syrian forces, that they would have had to get air clearance, right? Or do you believe this was more about the way the Osama bin Laden raid went in Pakistan, where you really try and tell no one?
Well, Paula, it could be both. There is, perhaps one of the parties involved, like Turkey, may have known something about this, or the Russians may have known something about it, because it is in the interest, actually, of both countries that Baghdadi be.
We now turn to our A-Team political panel. We've got Fox News contributor and Democratic strategist Doug Schoen, and we've also got the chairman of GOPAC and Republican strategist David Avella. Gentlemen, thanks so much for being with us on a Saturday. We love seeing you. Doug, I'm going to go to you first. So sure. This judge's ruling yesterday is a victory, unquestionably, for Democrats, but is it kind of, as they're saying, legitimizing everything they're doing, giving them carte blanche to proceed forward with impeachment however they want?
No, I don't think it legitimizes the process. I think it says they should have access to the grand jury information that Robert Mueller had, which is a precedent that was established in the Nixon impeachment. I think it's the right decision, but I share the views of both the Democratic and Republican congressmen that you just interviewed, Jillian, indicating that I'd like more transparency, because for the American people to make a judgment about what's going on, we can't do these hearings only in secret, without transcripts, without disclosure. I think that's wrong. Now, I think there's plenty of evidence to suggest that this is a reasonable process. I think the Trump administration is wrong discouraging people from testifying, but ultimately transparency in this process, as we had during the Nixon administration, is only a good thing.
So, David, we know that Republicans, you included, want more transparency, in this process. But there's this trend where Republicans are hitting the Democrats' impeachment process, the process itself. Every step of the way, they're contesting every single move, to the point where Jim Jordan spent much of the day railing yesterday about the fact that today, Schiff has got this ambassador, Phil Reeker, testifying on a Saturday. Like, are these the fights that you guys really want to spend your energy fighting?
Well, they're the fights we're being given, and given how the hearings are being run, because every action the Democrats take, it's not about finding the truth. It's about getting the outcome that they ultimately want. And so you see Republicans.
It's not a hoax. 1 full month into the impeachment inquiry, President Trump is up to his usual tricks, trying to convince someone, anyone, that the whole thing is a scam, a witch hunt, an act of treason even. Of course, it's not any of those things. It's, just a constitutionally designed process by which members of Congress are allowed, obligated even, to conduct oversight of the executive branch when it's concerned the president has abused his power. Also, by the way, a federal judge ruled yesterday that the impeachment inquiry is totally legal. So there's that. But desperate times call for desperate measures, and unable to argue the substance of what Democrats and even some Republicans are charging, Trump and his GOP protectors are resorting to truly comical, indeed embarrassing stunts. Stunts like Matt Frank the Tank Gaetz and his fellow Republican frat boys crashing a skiff party, closed-door deposition of Deputy Assistant Defense Secretary Laura Cooper, which many of them were actually invited to. Way to show 'em, boys. Stunts like Senator Lindsey Graham showing the president he's got his back by introducing an actual resolution complaining about the impeachment inquiry. Why? Because the president has been denied basic fairness. Poor guy. Stunts like the president of the United States calling this a lynching. Yep, this is totally how people who aren't worried behave. Of course, we know they are worried, with damning testimony this week from career officials and Trump appointees. Another hearing today on a Saturday, and more to come, including potentially Trump's former national security advisor, John Bolton. It's bad. White House officials even confessed to CNN that Democrats are winning the messaging battle, while the administration is struggling to assemble a war room and a winning strategy. that's tough when the president insists he's all he needs.
Here's the thing. I don't have teams. Everyone's talking about teams. I'm the team.
Also complicating messaging efforts, Trump has denied doing what he's accused of, and he's also admitted to doing what he's accused of, asking a foreign government to interfere with the American electoral process to his personal benefit. Well, it looks like Trump is truly out of options because he's back to name-calling. Never-Trumper Republicans, though on respirators with not many left, are in certain ways worse and more dangerous for our country than the do-nothing Democrats. Watch out for them. They are human scum. Here's the deal. That sounds like a tough guy, doesn't it? A guy who's secure in his own skin, who doesn't have to bother whining about people who, by his own account, are irrelevant. A guy who thinks name-calling on Twitter is an act of bravery. A guy who's so secure, so strong, so powerful, he has to threaten members of his own party to agree with him or else. Yeah, he's real tough. As for human scum, a comment he's directing at people like me, well, I'd like to just quickly respond and then we'll move on to business. These childish insults are designed to turn people against us, to pretend we're the problem, that our calling out the president for his immoral and unethical and possibly illegal behavior is somehow a worse offense than the president's immoral, unethical, and possibly illegal behavior. It's meant to divide and stoke tensions, but ultimately, it's designed to soothe the president's ego. So when his Twitter followers repeat his dumb insults, he feels better. Or when his fans chant human scum at one of his rallies, he feels powerful. It's really sad. If that's what he needs, if that's his love language, well, he can have it. I'm good. Okay, joining me now is former Republican Congressman from Wisconsin, CNN political commentator, Sean Duffy. First, welcome to the network, Congressman.
Hey, it's good to be with you, SC. Thanks for having me on. Good to see you.
Yeah, I've known you a while. I like you. I know you are a stand-up guy, a family man. You teach your kids good values. Would you, sir, call me human scum?
Listen, not the language I would use, SC, but I think it's important to go, not what did Donald Trump say? Why is he saying it? I mean, here you have a president.
No, I actually want to talk about what he said. I actually want to talk about what he said because he called people like me human scum.